welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. It's my birthday today. 50 years old. 50 years old. I'm not overly impressed with that. What am I doing today? Absolutely nothing. I'm going out for a meal with my children later, and then I'll be going to bed early, ready for work tomorrow. I should be at work today, but I've taken a loo day as it's my birthday. The last place I want to be on my birthday is at work, even though I'm not really doing much. I have had a phone call from the housing officer this morning. They're putting me on the housing list, which is nice. Quite how long I'll be on that list is anyone's guess. But hey, but right now it's coffee o'clock. So in this video, I've done a few videos on the negatives, maybe, are they negatives, of my autism. Today's going to be a little bit on the lighter side. I'm going to talk about special interests, or as a friend of mine at work asked, what's your superpower? To which I didn't really know an answer to, because I don't have a superpower. But my special interests. So obviously, to start with, let's start with the obvious ones. In the channel name, the bus driver photographer, photography, that's an interest of mine. I like to go out with my camera. I'll just grab my camera. Yeah, I like to go out with my camera. It's a 18 to 300mm lens on it. It's a Canon M50 Mark 1. It's got a 1.6 crop sensor in it, which means the full frame equivalent of that would be 18 to 300 times 1.6, which would give the full frame equivalent. I think it's something like 460, 480, something like that, millimeter. So yeah, I like to go out with my camera. If I can get over the going out part, that is, I like to go out with my camera, take photos. This channel actually started off as a photography channel, doing street photography. I don't really limit myself to a particular genre of photography. I just like to go out and take photos. I have this little thing of, I analyze photos, and it's surprising quite what a photograph can tell you. And I'm not just talking about the image. What a photograph can tell you about the person that took the photograph, how it's edited and stuff like that. You can sort of tell what sort of mood they're in, quite how they view the world, and stuff like that, just purely by the kind of photograph they take, how they've edited it, and stuff like that. So I quite like all of that. And obviously the next part of that is video, making videos, hence the YouTube channel. I do and have done from time to time, let my creativity go a little bit. When it comes to a vlog, it very much depends on what I'm after, like whether it's just a case of I've not put a video out for a while, I should really put a video out, or whether I want to use creative license and play around with the editing software and stuff like that. On this channel, as you'll have seen, it's more a vlog style. I've got another channel, it's a paranormal channel, where I go a bit more on the editing side of it, like to try and create a video that's entertaining, tells a story, and stuff like that. It's more along that sort of line. But yeah, I've got a little thing for cameras. I've got a film camera which has got film in, but I don't really use. I think because it's got a 28mm lens on it, and obviously with film you can't really crop, so you have to get it right in camera. Whereas on that one, not so much because it's digital. So yeah, photography and filmmaking. Generally what happens is I'll take an interest in something and I generally learn everything there is to learn about it. I may not implement it. It may take time to implement these things, but I'll really dive deep. Like, for instance, photography and videography with lighting. I generally don't use lighting. I use natural lighting. I understand about lighting and lighting the scene and decluttering the background, which I haven't done. My coats are here. There's a broom and a mop and whatever. I should really declutter it, but I don't. So, yeah. But I do know that I should. I've got my contacts in today as well. I've just put them in, so I'm a bit like me. So yeah, photography. Photography is very much an interest. I'd like to try more portraits. I've not really done any portraits. I've done a couple of my kids, but I can't really show those online because they're camera shy. I've got a few landscape photos up on the wall, and a photo I took at the Royal Pavilion of a water lily, I think it is. I've got that printed large on the wall. I'll just turn the camera around and show you. So that one over there is the water lily. I took that in the pond at the front of the Royal Pavilion. The one next to it, that's hidden by the fan, is just a boat, a sailboat, taken just near where I live. And that one there is a cluster of trees that I spotted up by Lancing College. So yeah, my camera's a bit bulky to carry around with me. I've been thinking about getting a point and shoot with a good zoom on it, so I can have a camera with me all the time. But I find I take a lot on my phone as well. I've got an iPhone 15. I probably won't get the iPhone 16 Pro Max because I'm under contract, and is it that much better than the iPhone 15? Probably not. So yeah, So yeah, photography and filmmaking. They're two. I do have a few more. I believe some people say that I only have one or two. Mine sort of, apart from the photography and filmmaking, which are sort of in it together, the others do sort of lead into one. They are sort of interlinked. So yeah, we'll get into that next. Okay, so next up, what body language. Now there is a reason for this. So here's one of the books I've got. I've got maybe 10 books on body language. This one's by Joe Navarro. He's a ex-FBI agent who is commonly known as the human lie detector. So why body language? Not sponsored, by the way. So as I said in one of my other videos, I struggle to read body language. So I decided a good way to combat that would be to learn body language, which has worked and hasn't worked. I've done a couple of courses, one through, or a couple through a guy called Chase Hughes, who's another ex-army, American Army intelligence person. I've got one of his books up there, the Ellipsis Manual. And the idea being is if I can teach myself body language and how to profile people to a degree, that could combat the lack of ability to read body language in a conversation, i.e. if I'm upsetting you or you're getting bored or anything like that, which has worked to a degree, but it doesn't work also. So my ability to detect lies when someone's lying, if they're not talking to me, or if I'm actually looking for it, has vastly improved. My ability to see if someone's stressed or how comfortable they are, or if they're bored or whatever, right, all of that has vastly improved. However, if I'm in the conversation and I'm talking, if we're talking in person, then my brain is solely focused on the conversation and I can't really read the body language. So it's very much a third person sort of thing, which is a little frustrating, to be fair. But it's a fascinating subject. I find myself quite often now, if I get stopped at traffic lights or a bus stop or anything like that, I'll be sort of profiling people to a degree. What sort of personality is this person? Was if two people are talking, is one person more invested in the conversation than the other, and stuff like that. Extremely interesting. Love it. And I've done how many courses? Three courses I've done on body language and profiling and interrogation. The reason the interrogation is, obviously, I'm not going to be interrogating someone, but it's to learn communication skills, help me with communication skills, what sort of questions to ask and stuff like that, and try and help me to understand when I should stop talking and allow the other person to talk and stuff like that, because that's also something I struggle with. So yeah, that's body language. This is what I started with, actually, body language. This led into the next one of personality disorders. I've got an interest in learning about personality disorders, and I bought this DSM-5. This is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of All Mental Disorders, the 5th edition. Bloody expensive as well. I think that book costs like, what was it, 55 quid? Very interesting. It's got the diagnosis criteria for all personality disorders and some mental health disorders and addictions like alcohol abuse and stuff like that. Fascinating. To me, it's fascinating. So, yeah, do I deep dive into things? Yes, I do, somewhat. Have I got another book on? No, I haven't got another book on personality disorders, I don't think. No. So, yeah, personality disorders. So, the body language led to me looking at true crime and stuff like that, and how to read body language in true crime situations and interviews and stuff like that, which then led into personality disorders. So then that led into a little bit of neuroscience. So I've not read this book yet. A Story of the Brain. I've got 1, 2, 3 or 4 books on neuroscience and how the brain works and stuff like that. And it's fascinating to me. The neuroscience and neuroanatomy, they're the two that I'm looking at, like what part of the brain is for what function and stuff like that, like the hippocampus for memory, the amygdala for fear and emotion, the cerebellum for movement, the cortex, which is your thinking brain, or your conscious part of the brain, the mammalian brain, which is your subconscious, and your reptilian brain, which is all your arteries and like keeping your things that keeping you alive. It's fascinating to me. So yeah, I've done. On the personality disorders and human behaviour, I've done a couple of courses on human behaviour. That also led from the body language. But yeah, the whole thing's just fascinating. So the neuroscience and neuroanatomy led me to different kinds of therapy. Also, I've also had a fascination, like for as long as I could remember, with hypnosis. So I've done a few courses on hypnosis. I've got a certificate somewhere up there, on a completion of two hypnosis courses. I have I done another one? No, I've got one in mind that I want to do. But yeah, hypnosis, fascinating. Obviously the different forms of hypnosis as well, from a snap induction, which can take less than a minute, to a full induction, which can take 20 minutes, to conversational hypnosis, which it can be done just through talking, hypnotherapy, which is the two. I've got 2 certificates up there for hypnotherapy. I've also I've got a couple of courses in mind for hypnotherapy, but they're very expensive. But it just fascinates me. I've not done it properly. I know how to do it. I could do it. I have used hypnotic embedded commands. When I was mentoring, I would use embedded commands. If the person was struggling on a particular thing, I would use embedded commands. I would use the natural hypnotic state of driving in order to do that. So yeah, I just find the whole thing absolutely fascinating. And I did have it in mind to actually become a therapist. So whether that's in hypnosis or another kind of therapy, I don't know whether I'll do it or not. Like I said the other day, I suffer massively from imposter syndrome. So that is a limiting belief of my own. So will I ever do it? I doubt it, but the intention's there. And also, I'll come to that. So this, I was on the verge of getting a diploma in hypnotherapy, but the reason I didn't, I completed the course. That's what the certificate is there. I completed the course, but in order to get the diploma, I needed certain people to hypnotize. I needed someone who wanted to give up smoking, which I don't know anyone. I needed someone that wanted to lose weight, which I don't know anyone. And there was a couple of other things. And yeah, so I didn't get the actual diploma, but I did complete the course. So the hypnosis and the idea of becoming a therapist made me consider what other forms of therapy are out there. So I did a course on NLP. I've got a couple of books on NLP. I've got quite a few books on hypnosis, which I have got the qualification for NLP, which does allow me to become a therapist. I'm actually, what am I? I'm a NLP practitioner and master practitioner certified. So NLP's a fascinating genre in itself. Neuro-linguistic programming, that's what it stands for. It's all about changing your thought process around a problem and using speech patterns in order to do that, to change your way of thinking. So do I use this stuff? Yes and no. Like I said in my last video, a lot of, or 90, probably 98% of my speech is subconscious. It doesn't go through my conscious mind. No filters. So my thought process is, the more I read, the more courses I do on communication, body language, certain techniques and stuff like that, all of that data goes into your subconscious. Does with everyone, with me, literally everyone. So because my speech comes from my subconscious more so than my conscious, I'm wondering and seeing if the information that I take in adapts my subconscious thinking. Whether it is or not, don't know. I think it has to a degree, because I do catch myself using certain patterns and saying certain things that I possibly wouldn't have before. But yeah, the whole thing is fascinating to me. I'm also doing I've just started another course on CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. That isn't to become a therapist, that is a life coach course, using CBT to become a life coach. And that is all about, similar to NLP, but it's about changing your cognitive thinking. And also, I did start a course, I've not touched it for a little while, I quite often do that, on modern day psychology. I do need to pick that back up. I did it with the NLP one, actually. I bought the course, I started it, and then I got overwhelmed. I stopped it, left it alone for about 6 months. And then when I didn't have... excuse me. When I didn't have so much going on and I could focus on it, I picked it up again and I completed it within a year. So yeah, they're the main things. I did have a little look at manifestation. That's an interesting one. So and it's a real thing as well. Like, people say you make your own luck and stuff like that. Sort of true. Wishes, manifestations, sort of the same thing, aren't they? But it's a real thing. So to a degree, it's a real thing. So manifestation is, the myth around manifestation is, you think of something you want, that you really, really want, and you visualize having it, and then you just sort of leave the thought alone, and boom, all of a sudden you've got it. Obviously, that doesn't happen. But neurologically, the way it actually works is, you decide what you want, say a car, for instance. I'll use a car because this is what happened to me. You visualize having it, you really want it. So you visualize having it. What that does is it tells the brain that this is important to you. So you go through the process of visualizing having whatever it is you want, in this case, a car. So then what actually happens is your brain will start looking for opportunities for you to gain that item, i.e. a car. It's the same process of if you buy a car, all of a sudden you'll be seeing the same car all over the place. That isn't because there's more of that car, it's because your brain knows that, or thinks that, this item is important to you, so now it's recognizing it and presenting that information to you, whereas before it was just deleting it off. So an NLP term is your brain takes in the data, it deletes, distorts, and it generalizes, distorts, and deletes. So any information that isn't important, it deletes. It will generalize the information that's coming in. So this bit of information needs to go to that part of the brain, that part of the brain, and so on. Then it will distort it to a degree, and then it will delete what it doesn't need, which is why memory is actually so unreliable. The longer you go on from a certain thing, the more unreliable that memory becomes, because it gets distorted. Which is the same thing of if you've got two people at the same event at the same time, over time they'll have different memories, even though they've experienced the exact same thing. It's because the memory gets distorted, they'll interact with each other, they'll remember things that the other person didn't, and so on. So the actual memory becomes unreliable. So yeah, with manifestation, what actually happens is you decide you want something, you visualize having it. That tells your subconscious that this thing is important to you. So then your subconscious will start looking for ways to achieve what you want to achieve, like get the thing that you want to get. So for me, I really wanted a car. It's on my videos, if you go back, I really wanted a car. I did visualize getting a car, having a car, what it would be like to have a car, and so on, which obviously meant that my subconscious is now looking for opportunities to obtain a car, because my subconscious knows that that's important to me. And there was a driver at work. I spoke to one driver at work, said that, like, I really want a car and so on. He mentioned to another driver at work that I was after a car, and he then messaged me saying, I hear you're after a car. I said yes, but I haven't got the money at the moment, and we come to an arrangement. So the opportunity presented itself, or my subconscious put the feelers out there saying I wanted a car. An opportunity came along which my subconscious picked up on, right? And now I've got a car. So did I manifest a car? Yes, I did manifest a car, but I didn't manifest it in the myth of manifestation of, oh, pop, there's a car, I didn't manifest the opportunity. It's just that my brain went looking for that opportunity, and that essentially is how manifestation works. So yes, it is very real. Yes, it does work, but not the way there's a ton of YouTube channels and videos on manifestation saying all you've got to do is visualize it and you don't have to do anything. That's never going to work. There's a good book, actually. I've got it. It's actually on manifestation. I can't think what it's called. It's called Think and Grow Rich. And that actually explains in quite good detail, actually, how manifestation works and stuff like that. But that's just a different genre of how the brain works. So yeah, absolutely fascinated with the brain, psychology, human behavior, body language, and in particular hypnosis. I've got, like, the books that I've shown you are just a small selection. I've got, yeah, a few others, on this. So yeah, that's that bit. What else? Chess. I'm into chess at the moment. I actually got messaged by a content creator yesterday, actually. A friend of mine put me onto a website called chess.com. They have an app as well, where you can play other people at chess. And you get ranked and all the rest of it. And I got a message yesterday by a content creator asking my opinion and stuff like that. So I spoke to him for a little while. Yeah, I've played chess all my life, for as long as I can remember, on and off. Like, never seriously. I don't really play it seriously now. But me being me, I have sort of thrown myself into it. Obviously, if I'm doing something, I want to do it to the best of my ability. There's a lot of patterns in chess as well, which I'm enjoying. So yeah, I've thrown myself deep into chess at the moment, and I've actually started another YouTube channel, just me playing chess, online. It's not a channel I'm taking too seriously. I haven't posted on there for a little while. But yeah, I enjoy playing chess. But again, chess is a thinking game. It's very much to do with the brain. So that probably won't surprise too many people. As for my superpower, I didn't know what to say to that. What's my superpower? So I asked my ex-wife, because obviously she knows me better than anyone else. I asked her, like, I got asked what my superpower is. And she said something that's sort of true to a degree. She said, oh, I'm not sure I would call it a superpower, but out of anything, the fact that if I decide to do something, to achieve something, generally I'll achieve it. I will manage to do it. And it got me thinking, and I suppose she's right. Like, back in 2002, I saw an advert to become a bus driver. Obviously, back then I didn't have a PCV license. And I became a bus driver. I passed my test, become a bus driver. I remember at the time, actually, because I had to do the theory, and that year was the first year they introduced the hazard perception as well. And I had to study for the theory test, and I would have the book with me and stuff like that, and I'd just focus on the book and nothing else existed. And I remember my father-in-law saying to me, like, how can you do that with all this noise going on? How can you just sit there and study? And I was so in my own world, I barely even heard him ask it. So yeah, I did that, and then obviously I decided that I wanted to do a charity walk for Help for Heroes, and with the help of Richard, we'd done that in 2010 and raised a nice amount of money for Help for Heroes. And then I decided I wanted to become a taxi driver. Now, when I decided I wanted to be a taxi driver, I didn't have a car, had no money to get a car, but I just decided that's what I wanted to do, and I did it, got a car, and then obviously COVID hit, so I decided that I needed to go back on the buses, so I did that. And yeah, pretty much anything that I've wanted to achieve, I've achieved. Even this YouTube channel. When I first started it was an escape for me. Get out, take photographs, and I use YouTube as somewhere to post my photographs. And then I decided that I wanted to grow it. So I started looking for ways to grow this channel. And now I've just reached, just gone over 1,100 subscribers. Still not monetized, but it's getting there. I'm getting there. And yeah, it's become more of a success than I thought it would become. And obviously, it gives me a platform to do what I also wanted to do, of help people. So that's the whole point of these videos, is using my experience to hopefully help some of you. If some of you can relate to what I'm saying, if not, then it doesn't really matter. But if one or two of you can relate to what I'm saying and find some sort of comfort and make you realise that you're not the only one, then I'm happy with that. So yeah, I think that's it. That is all my interests, my special interests. No, it's not. So it's been noted that I know a bit about employment law, the buses. Obviously, as a bus driver, I'm going to know a bit more than your average person, as it's my job. I don't think I know more than any other bus driver when it comes to the bus industry itself. And I know certainly a lot of you know a darn sight more about buses than I do. But employment law is one that gets me, because I've never studied employment law. I have found a course actually that I'm intending on doing on employment law, but I've never studied employment law. But I understand it, and I understand the wording that's used, the legal jargon, and I don't know why I understand the legal stuff. I do go on to the UK legislation website for employment law. So yeah, I do have an interest in it. I haven't deep dived into it, but I do have an interest in it, and I know a certain amount. But what I don't know, I know where I can go and find out. So yeah, there's probably one that I will come into the foreground a little bit later on. These are my main ones though. So yeah, if you found that interesting, a little bit more about myself and my special interests, give the video a like, hit the subscribe button, totally free to do. Leave a comment below what your special interests are. Leave a comment below whether you find these kind of videos helpful. And yeah, I'll see you again next time.